Welcome back, fellow indoor football fans, to another episode of the Indoor Football Report. I'm your host, as always, Annie Filmco. I'm the bearer of bad news on this episode, as it was announced by the UIFL that the newly formed United Indoor Football League has acquired the assets of the Ultimate Indoor Football League from Cecil Van Dyke and Assured Equities 4. According to the new league's website, which is pretty much the old UIFL's website with a different name on it, it states the new league will follow along the lines of the original foundation of the former league, for real family entertainment that is owner, fan, and player friendly. But besides the name change and the ownership change, we need to dive deeper to see what this actually means for the new United Indoor Football League. The UIFL still, though. Apparently, it is speculated on the internet that Cecil Van Dyke sold the UIFL back to the original co-founders Andrew Haynes and Michael Taylor. And they decided to keep, it looks like, Jared Lorenzen as commissioner for the new United Indoor Football League for their upcoming season and beyond. And an interesting quote I found when researching this, the Eastern Kentucky Drillers owner Rick Cran said, "With what is in place now, we have a strong group of owners and teams," which is interesting considering they dropped 5 teams in this transaction. There are a total of 4 planned expansion teams that aren't actually going to play in the 2012 season now, and 1 former team that did play in the last season that is no longer going to play in the 2012 season. The 4 expansion teams that aren't taking the field in 2012 is the Carolina Aviators, the Danville Dragons, the Kentucky Monsters, and the Tennessee Rail Runners. I've also seen Raiders, so Rail Runners, Raiders, but it doesn't really matter because they're not taking the field apparently. The team that played in the inaugural season that isn't coming back is the Canton Cougars. I don't really know what's going on with them. They just weren't on the list or the roster for the teams that are going to be participating in the inaugural season, I guess, of the United Indoor Football League. But that roster includes the Erie Explosion, the Marion Blue Racers, the Cincinnati Commandos, the Western Pennsylvania Sting, which is a travel team for this season, the Johnstown Generals, the Eastern Kentucky Drillers, Rome Rampage, which is also a travel team, the Mississippi Hound Dogs, Florida Tarpons, Lakeland Raiders, and the Huntington Hammer. That leaves the league with a total of 11 teams that are going to be split into 2 conferences now, the Northern and the Southern Conference. With the cancellation of these 4 expansion teams and the Canton Cougars, the new United Indoor Football League has announced there will be a revised schedule coming out shortly. The new league is set to start off its inaugural season, I guess, in the first week of March. I guess we'll see how it goes with everything that's unfolded in this transaction. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out. And just an interesting note, in the days leading up to this transaction, the former UIFL was attempting to sell stocks in their company at a minimum of $20,000 an investor had to put in. I found that interesting, kind of odd, because not many, or almost, in fact, no other indoor football leagues have done that before. So I knew something was fishy, and then this came up, so I should have seen it coming. This might shock some of you. T.O. is headed back to the Big D, but not with the Cowboys. Terrell Owens has accepted an offer from the Allen Wranglers of the IFL to be part owner of their franchise and participate in their 2012 season. He can receive up to $500,000 for his activeness in the upcoming season. In other news, this isn't as exciting as the previous 2 tidbits, but the CIFL has got a new website. After having the same website for the past 2 seasons, they changed it to something different. Take a look. And finally, we come to the poll and opinion section area / segment of this episode. And in this fourth down, I am going to express my opinion on a national indoor football tournament. I think it would be totally awesome and epic if the main 4 leagues could get together after all their seasons are over and put their winners against each other in some sort of tournament style to determine a national or maybe even world championship team of indoor football. And along with the title of championship team, the league that they represent would also be called like the best league. But I think it would unify the league because the indoor football world, because the leagues would be forced to collaborate together and be more unified. I think right now they're more disjointed and discombobulated all over the country. But yeah, tell me what you think. Leave a comment below. I personally am in favor of the main 4 leagues allowing interleague play. I think it would be more cost effective for the teams playing teams that are closer to them. I also think this would help unify the league like the national championship. It would create a more stable indoor football world, and stable is always good in indoor football, like we can see from the semi-collapse of the UIFL. Stable is always better in indoor football. Well, that was all the major news that happened in the indoor football world over the past month. This is Any Film Co. signing off from the Indoor Football Report. Long live indoor football.